So at first glance, you might just think this is another special edition Corvette Z06, but it's really so much more than that. This 2016 Z06 C7R Edition really celebrates Corvette's immense success, and not just a romantic idea of historical success in the 60s and the 50s, but truly when Corvette went full-on factory racing and dominated. When you think of Corvette racing history, depending on who you are, a lot of people think back to the Briggs Cunningham era, the 60s, the Grand Sports, but when you really analyze it, they didn't win as many races as people often like to remember. Corvette's endurance racing legacy was really built with the C5R, the C6R, and the C7R. So this C7R edition was based on the already ridiculous C7 Z06. So that means you still get the supercharged 6.2 liter, 650 horsepower, 650 foot-pounds of torque monster, but you got all the bells and whistles with this car. You got the Z07 package, which means you got the carbon ceramic brakes. I mean, you look at these things, giant carbon ceramic brakes, big Brembo calipers. You've got all the carbon fiber goodies, huge aero package, and the 3LZ interior, making this car truly a special edition car. When you zoom out a little bit, thinking about this car, it really does check all the boxes. Seriously low production numbers, 650 of these things in existence, 500 produced for the US. You can't get any better than a special edition low production number car based off of what was a seriously winning race car. So the question is, why does a car like this matter more than a normal Z06? Because the badge on the fender points to a period when Corvette racing stopped being hopeful and started to become historic. The real turning point was the C5R. Corvette Racing made its competition debut in 1999, and GM itself described it as the first factory-sanctioned motorsport program in Corvette history. In terribly wet conditions, the number 2 C5R, driven notably by Ron Fellows and Johnny O'Connell, stayed alive in those terribly wet conditions and gave Corvette Racing its first Rolex 24-hour victory overall. The sister car, with Dale Earnhardt Sr. and Dale Earnhardt Jr. sharing duties, finished 4th overall and 2nd in class. Later the same year, the C5R delivered Corvette's first class win at Le Mans. That's when the whole thing became real. The C5R was certainly the breakthrough, but the C6R had to be the hammer blow, because the C6R didn't just prove Corvette belonged anymore, it proved they could dominate. The C6R arrived and immediately made a statement. At Le Mans 2005, on its very first appearance there, Corvette Racing scored a 1-2 finish in GT1 with the new C6R. Then it came back to Le Mans and won again in 2006 and again in 2009. The C6 era is really where the Corvette program went from respected to feared. And then you get to the C7 era, the car that this car is honoring. And that's where the story almost gets too good, because the C7R didn't just win, it produced one of the most remarkable seasons that Corvette Racing has ever had. In 2015, the C7R helped deliver what people often call Corvette's racing Triple Crown year. It started at Daytona. The number 3 C7R won the GTLM class after leading more than 350 laps, and then came Le Mans, the emotional race. After the sister car, the number 63, crashed because of debris in the pedal box, the team rallied around the remaining number 64 C7R of Oliver Gavin, Tommy Milner, and Jordan Taylor. Gavin made the key late race move. The Corvette took control and won the class by 5 laps. The C7R won Daytona, Sebring, and Le Mans in 1 year.
Whoa, breaking the tires free in first gear. Oh, it just keeps pulling second gear. Oh my goodness.
Oh, let's back it down. Wow. Never disappoints. Never disappoints. I've driven a lot of Corvettes, so it's, I'm a little bit desensitized to these cars, but this car here is certainly special. You've got the PDR on the screen here, which is the performance data recorder, which is super interesting. With a lot of these guys, these car owners taking these things to the track. It's got a camera on the front, giving you lap times, throttle input, brake input. So, you know, the guy who takes this car to a lapping day can go really after the fact and analyze his whole day. Step on it a little bit here. Oh, geez. Yeah, I mean, 650 horsepower and 650 foot-pounds of torque. Nothing to sneeze at. So if you're familiar with C6, C7, C8 Corvettes, you've got your select mode here, and you can go from inclement weather to economy mode, to tour mode, to sport mode, to track mode. And then of course, if you're really spending all day at the track, traction control right off. Oh, just so fast. Such a good chassis, such a good platform. The car is so planted, so stable, so predictable. I've always said these cars are really the best of all worlds in the fact that you can take this car to the track all day long. You can drive it to the track. You could daily drive it all summer and throw your golf clubs in the back. Yeah, pretty unique in that regard. Got the fan running. We got her a little bit warm there. Man, oh man. So with a car like this, you've got the limited production numbers. It's the C7R Edition. You've obviously got the 6.2 liter, 650 horsepower monster. And you've got the livery tied to Corvette's most successful racing effort, period. That is the perfect recipe for a future collectible car. Package that with this car specifically, under 400 miles on the car. Again, ticks all the boxes. So, after driving this car rather quickly, we've got to ask ourselves the question, do you need a car like this? No. No one needs a yellow C7R Edition Z06 with Jake on the hood. You don't need a car like this. But do you want a car like this? Yeah, pretty much every car guy wants a car like this.